Company presents
It's the shotgun on 3rd and 9. The big rush is on. He lets it go. Tony Hill, 20. He's in. Touchdown, Tony Hill.
And we're underway the first step towards the Super Bowl. Bruce Harper on the return. Picked up by the Buffalo Bills. What an unbelievable turn of events. Now that's Barber in motion. Nielsen over the middle to Renfro, breaks a tackle. 35, 30, now has the block. 20, 10, 5, touchdown, Mike Renfro. Oh, my.
NFL 85 is brought to you by Volkswagen. It's not a car, it's a Volkswagen. By LA from Anheuser-Busch. With half the alcohol of our regular beer, sometimes it's the perfect thing to say. And by Ice Blue Aqua Velva, because there's something about an Ice Blue Aqua Velva man.
And hello, everyone. I'm Bill McAtee here in our NBC Sports Studios in New York. As usual, Pete Axthelm and Ahmad Rashad here in Studio 6A on Sunday. Bob Costas, who normally fills this chair, is up in Kansas City getting ready for Game 5 of the American League Championship Series, and we'll hear from Bob in just a few moments. We are getting set for a busy sports day here on NBC. After football, at 4:30 Eastern Time, Toronto will try to wrap up the American League pennant, a potential historic occasion as no team from outside the U.S. has ever gone to the World Series. And then at 8 Eastern, Game 4 of the National League Championship Series. But right now, we want to turn our attention to Week 6 of the NFL season and the games you'll be seeing today. A large number of you will watch Pittsburgh and Dallas. The Cowboys, of course, lead the NFC East at 4-1, but the Steelers have an almost mystical hold on Dallas. They haven't lost to the Cowboys since 1972. A model look at the Cowboys-Steeler rivalry in just a few moments. Buffalo at New England. Joe Cribbs, the Bills' former All-Pro running back, is back in a Buffalo uniform. We will talk with Joe in just a moment. Bernie Kosar gets his first NFL start today as Cleveland is in Houston to play the Oilers, and Denver, with the AFC's most potent offense, goes down to Indiana to take on the Colts. Now, as we mentioned earlier, last night the Toronto Blue Jays put themselves on the brink of history, winning Game 4 of the American League Championship Series, coming from behind 3-1, and as he had done in Game 2, the key hit came from Al Oliver in the ninth with the score tied at 1, 2 men on. Oliver strokes a double into the right field corner. Both runs score. Toronto hangs on to win by a score of 3-1. Bob Costas is with Al Oliver. Bob?
All right, Bill, thank you. Al Oliver will be 39 on Monday, but he's been celebrating all this week. First, Al, the Toronto detectives recovered several thousands of dollars worth of lost jewelry, and then you went out and celebrated this week with 2 game-winning hits off Quisenberry.
I tell you, unbelievable, great celebration. You know, I tell you, it's been a situation where over the last week it has been probably one of the best weeks of my life, and of course to help a ball club come closer to a world championship is very gratifying to me. Of course, being on one championship team and back in '71 and 5 divisional championships, once you get a taste of winning one time, no other way, and it's been a while. 1975 was the last year, of course, that I was in postseason play, and it's good to be in that situation again.
What's your secret against the Quiz? You got him in the 10th in Game 2, and you got him in the 9th last night.
I think that he's an outstanding pitcher, number one. And when you got the best in one field and the best in the other, I think that it brings out the best in each other. A top pitcher, top hitter, I think that it just comes down to who makes the mistake. And I've been very fortunate, of course, over the last 2 times I've gone out with them to have come out on top. There's no secret to it. I think it was just the man upstairs that was definitely looking out for me or something.
The Blue Jays are basically a young team. You give them some veteran presence. Are you aware of that role?
I am. As Lloyd Mosby says, that I'm from the old school, but I'm still young, which is basically the truth, because if I was one of those guys that's out with rigor mortis setting in or something, then it'd be something different. But I know that the players look to me and they respect me as a person and my career, and it is a good feeling. But these guys don't need much because they have an outstanding team here, a lot of talent, and I'm just glad that I'm in a position where I can help young ball players in certain situations and to help young men become the better people.
Al Oliver, he wants the world to know he can be somebody's full-time DH as he continues his quest for 3,000 hits. But right now, the Blue Jays continue their quest for a spot in the World Series, ahead 3-1. Let's go back now to Bill McAtee. And Bill, I want you to do a good job on this show, but not too good. You know what I mean, pal?
Just keeping the chair warm for you, Bob. Besides, Axe is the guy you got to watch. One of the big stories in the NFL this week has to do with the return to Buffalo of former All-Pro running back Joe Cribbs. Joe is back after 2 years with Birmingham of the USFL. He signed a 4-year, reported $2 million contract with Buffalo this past week. And just a few moments ago, he talked with Ahmad Rashad.
Joe, it's good to see you back on the Buffalo Bills team, but you got to be excited coming in with the possibility of playing with a running back like Greg Bell.
Well, I think that Greg Bell is an exceptional player, and I think that there shouldn't be really any problem with the two of us playing. You know, there are things that he can do that he does very well, and there are things that I can do that I do very well, and hopefully we can complement each other.
You know, one of the things is you're killing the old myth that football players can't play year-round. You're going to play a whole bunch of games this year.
Well, I feel good because unlike most of the players who left the USFL, I think that I did have some time off. And, you know, the 5 games that I missed pretty much gave me an opportunity to rest up, and I really feel like that I have had an off season, so I'm ready to go.
All right, Joe. Now, you know how I have a warm feeling in my heart about Buffalo. You get in there and get it together up there, and you guys get it on.
Okay, Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Joe.
Okay.
Bill, you know, it's something about the Buffalo signing Cribbs, because by having Cribbs and Greg Bell in the same backfield, they all of a sudden have one of the best backfields in the league. And also, Cribbs is so good at coming out of the backfield, it should take some pressure off Vince Ferragamo.
Buffalo is, what, 2-19 since Joe left? But they found a pretty good running back in Bell. How do you think Greg feels right now?
I think he feels strong because now they can't put all the pressure on Bell. And all of a sudden, they got a guy they can play off of, and you don't have to take all the licks.
Okay, thank you, Ahmad. And joining us now, a man who spent much of last week resting on his laurels. Pete Axe, tell me, you were 4-1 last week. The only loss was Cincinnati?
That's right. And in my masochist bowl, I'm going right back to Cincinnati this week. The Giants are 2 over the Bengals. I never win games involving the Giants. And the Bengals' loss of composure last week is a subject of my essay later in the day. I'm still taking the Bengals +2 as the best bet of the day.
All right, Browns by 2 over Houston.
Best rushing offense, worst rushing defense. You got to take the Browns minus the 2.
And the Chargers are 3.5-point underdogs against Kansas City. And
it's the first time the Chiefs have been favored on grass since 1975. You have to take the Chargers, even though they're banged up and a team in turmoil.
Rams are favored. I know what you're going to do here. Rams favored by 6.5 over Tampa Bay, and this is a surprise.
Yeah, a team that hasn't won against a team that hasn't lost. Naturally, I'm going to take the team that hasn't won, the 0-5 Bucks, because I just want to give you the stat of the week. Since Week 7 of 1980, the Rams have not won by 6 on grass on the road. 12 times they've tried. They have failed to win by more than 6. Take the Bucks +6.5.
Defying logic for a stat. And finally, Cowboys by 5 over Pittsburgh.
This looks like a moto. Every handicapper in the country knows the Steelers have a jinx on the Cowboys. Steelers +5 are the play with great trepidation, but take the Steelers.
Okay, let's take another look at Peter's picks. Axe goes with the Bengals against the Giants. The Bengals are 2-point underdogs. The Oilers are 2-point underdogs at home against the Browns. Axe takes Cleveland. The Chiefs and the Chargers. Peters takes the points and San Diego. The winless Bucks and undefeated Rams take the points in Tampa Bay, according to Pete. And the Cowboys Steelers take Pittsburgh and 5 points. We will be back in just a few moments. Larry King reporting from Washington. When we return, stay with us. Joins us now live from our nation's capital. Hello, Larry.
Hello, Bill. Nice working with you.
Good working with you, too. I know you've got a big baseball story, so let's get right to it.
We will. Bill, we have learned exclusively that Major League Baseball will soon sign a historic agreement with the Players Association regarding testing for drugs. This whole story could break very soon, but Major League Baseball players will be tested for drugs. Don Coryell is on thin ice in San Diego. If the Chargers lose to Kansas City today, and Axe thinks they won't, Coryell could be fired this week. Ernie Zampese, assistant head coach of the team, he's in line for the job. So is Charlie Sumner, the head coach of the Oakland Invaders of the USFL. Sumner, by the way, is also talking with the Falcons. Dan Henning is on thin ice there. Out in L.A., Marcus Allen is happy again with the Raiders. Coach Tom Flores told him this week the team is going to use the I formation a lot more, and he's going to be asked to take up the slack caused by a weak passing offense. Across town in L.A., Eric Dickerson is very unhappy. No progress on that promised new contract. There's been an unspoken rivalry between Allen and Dickerson. Eric is very jealous of the financial deal that Marcus got from Al Davis. In private, by the way, Dickerson has called the Rams offense too vanilla, meaning too bland. And by the way, the Rams have not lost. Art Schlichter, dropped by the Colts, won't be offered a job by anyone. The Oilers have not scored a point in the first quarter all year. Seattle's talking to New England about a new halfback. And look for a new domed stadium in Queens, New York for football. It'll be next to Shea Stadium. That's the way I hear it, Bill.
All right, Larry, the drug testing story obviously is a major one. Do you have any more details on the plan?
Well, we checked it out with two sources, and it is a firm story. One is in management, one is on the union side. The details are a little sketchy. I did want to get it on because I think it is important. It's a major step. It's historic, as I said. And as I hear it, the union will be in charge of the testing, reporting to management. The union is going to run the show, as I see it, with complete cooperation on the part of management so that the public, the players, and everybody will be fairly treated. But you can look for an announcement very soon that Major League Baseball players have agreed to and will be tested for drugs.
All right, you're down in Washington. Monday night's win take a little pressure off Joe Theismann?
Yeah, I was in New York all week, but when I came back to Washington Saturday, I didn't hear any anti-Theismann talk. Although while in New York, I sure heard a lot of anti-Giant talk. I'd say the pressure's off Theismann, and if they beat the Lions today, it's going to be over for Joe in the point of view of having people attacking him until next week. In Washington, the patience runs short.
Larry King, thank you. Enjoy your Sunday.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay, bye-bye. When we come back, we'll talk of the Cowboys and Steelers and a rivalry that has produced one-sided results since 1972. We'll be back.
Listen to the sound of a closer, smoother shave. Williams Electric Shave sets up my beard, so my shaver shaves closer, and I get a smoother shave. Listen to Williams Electric Shave. The sound of a closer, smoother shave.
Huh, you're wearing this because of your new secretary.
Me? I'm wearing Ice Blue Aqua Velva because the icy cool formula makes my face feel great.
But that scent, it's sinful. There's something about an Ice Blue Aqua Velva, man.
Hamburger places think they can become chicken experts overnight. And even though they may make chicken nuggets, it's not that easy to get chicken right.
At Kentucky Fried Chicken, our nuggets have our secret blend of 11 herbs and spices, so they taste great. In fact, people who said they've ever tried Kentucky Nuggets and McDonald's chicken nuggets rated ours higher on taste.
So try the nuggets from the chicken experts. Anyone else could be just winging it.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, we do chicken right.
Bill Evans can't breathe.
My nose is so stuffed, air can't get through.
Prove it. Would you try Dristan long-lasting nasal spray?
I'll try anything.
It can give you relief in seconds that lasts all day. Can you breathe now?
Think so.
Prove it. Still breathing freely?
Yeah.
Prove it. Prove it to yourself. Dristan long-lasting goes to work in seconds, lasts all day. Or try Dristan regular.
NFL 85 continues, and we are joined now by Ahmad Rashad. You were down in my part of the country.
You always like this. You can start smiling now. Every time I talk about the Dallas Cowboys, Bill goes crazy. Now, there were a lot of good teams in the 70s. The Minnesota Vikings, the LA Raiders, but there are only two teams that really dominated, and that was the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys. And the reason that these teams dominated, I think, is that the character and stability that both these teams had at head coach.
When you're a coach, you better be a teacher. You know, you got to be a motivator too. But I think the excitement is to see a guy come up and you say, oh, I don't know whether he's going to make it or not. He doesn't look like he can play, and then you keep working with him, and all of a sudden he becomes a player for you. And to me, that's the most exciting part of the game.
Coach, you know, one of the neatest things about the Cowboy organization is being around a lot of players, like at a Pro Bowl situation, the players that play for Dallas have a true team pride about them, and I think that's a big plus when you build your own system.
Yeah, I think the success of our club, I know, is because we're stable. When you come into our organization, whether you're a coach or whether you're a player, you feel like, well, if I get the job done, if I go out and work hard, then I'll be here. And I think that helps you. I think that gives you a little bit of pride because we have to have a little bit of a feeling that our jobs are secure.
The Pittsburgh Steelers tested the Cowboys' security in the 70s with 5 straight victories, which included 2 Super Bowls, making them one of just 5 teams holding a series lead over Dallas.
In Dallas, we looked at as a finesse team. They tried to trick you with different things. They had the flex defense, and they had a lot of motion, a lot of movement in their offense. And we looked on ourselves as being a hard-hitting, sort of brutal football team. And that's the way we were going to win football games. We were going to go out and hit you harder than you hit us.
All right, now, what do you guys have to say about that?
Well, they're still talking about how physical they were and how finesse-type team we were back then, but I think he has a point. They were a very physical football team, but in our scheme of things, we were really labeled a finesse team because that's the way we attacked defenses, the way we set up blocks, and the way we ran our pass routes. But I think when it got down to the nuts and bolts of football, we were physical, just as physical as anybody out there on the football field.
We play our flex defense, which is a more of a controlled type defense where each person has a gap responsibility. Then he has the freedom to pursue the play after he's not at the point of attack. But when it comes down to actually hitting on the field, I don't think Pittsburgh beat us because they were a more physical football team than we were.
All right, now there are tremendous similarities in both these 2 football teams, and they both have great players, great organizations, but where the big similarity is in coaches. They have Tom Landry, and Pittsburgh has a guy who takes a backseat to no one, Chuck Noll.
When we sign somebody, we sign them with the idea that they have the wherewithal to do it. And, you don't categorize. Everybody's comfortable putting people in categories, in little niches. But football players come in all sizes from all kinds of schools and from different backgrounds. And what we try to do is give them the experience, and some of them develop, and the ones that develop, play well for you.
All right, Coach, now when you started, you were going to build your team through the draft, but now your first year, you were 1-13. I would imagine if a team was going to try and do that now, boy, it'd be awful tough because coaches don't stay around that long if they're 1-13.
I thought you were my friend. You didn't bring up that. You're right. I was very fortunate from that standpoint to have been allowed the time. I think that speaks well for the organization.
There's a couple teams in the league that when you talk to those players, you can feel that they have that pride. It's usually teams like the Steelers and like the Cowboys.
It's something that I think builds over a period of time, and success has a great deal to do with that.
Now, when I was playing, one of the teams that I enjoyed beating more than any other team was the Dallas Cowboys, and it was probably because they called them America's team. But the neat thing about Dallas is not many teams beat them. Now, I talked to Landry about this, and he said that maybe, with a smile on his face, which you never see on Sunday, he said that maybe because Pittsburgh won all those Super Bowls, they should be America's team.
You know, interesting, 4 of those 5 Pittsburgh victories have been memorable. You got 2 Super Bowls, 10-13. You have 1977, the last time that the Cowboys won the Super Bowl. They lost 2 games that year. One of those was to Pittsburgh. And the Steelers snapped the Cowboys streak of 17 consecutive opening day victories.
Well, you know, the neat thing, Bill, is Landry said what they've been lucky enough to do is that they've never had to rebuild. They reshaped a little bit, but they've never rebuilt.
Come on. Thank you very much. Coming up, Pete Axthelm's essay as NFL 85 continues. Stay with us.
Hilton presents the NFL Competition Classics. In 1984, the Steelers welcomed Louis Lipps with open arms, and he proved to be a rookie who played with the poise of a 10-year veteran. Lipps did double duty all season as a return man on special teams and as a wide receiver with both hands and heart. You only get one chance to make a great first impression. Louis Lipps did just that. His all-out effort gave Pittsburgh a season of big plays, and he was a runaway choice for NFL Rookie of the Year.
Effort is what separates one company from another. Takes to stay ahead. Effort is the difference between a job and a job well done. makes Hilton America's business address.
Mrs. Smith wanted a small new car that's built to last. Mr. Smith wanted a big new car with room for 5 and lots of suitcases and German engineering. But the Smiths had less than $7,000. So, how did they get all they wanted? They bought a new Volkswagen Golf. Buying a Volkswagen has always been smart, but buying a new Golf is simply brilliant. Golf. It's not a car, it's a Volkswagen.
My dandruff shampoo is good.
Maybe you should try something else. My dandruff shampoo really works.
Maybe you should try something else, like Selsun Blue. Doctors and pharmacists recommend Selsun Blue more than all other leading brands combined. It's #1. What that means to you is no leading brand gets rid of dandruff better than Selsun Blue. It's #1.
And now, new Selsun Blue Extra Conditioning Shampoo with aloe gets rid of dandruff and leaves hair in beautiful condition.
Breeders' Cup, this fall on NBC.
All right, we're a few minutes away from game time here. Past essays by Pete Axtell may have led you to believe that Peter was seriously demented. This should confirm it, folks. Here's Axe.
Did you ever snap awake at 5 in the morning and face the problem fairy sitting at the foot of the bed? Yes, she's the one with the stack of bills you haven't paid, the notice that the phone is about to become mute, and the message that your wife is not only suing you for divorce, but she's signed up with F. Lee Bailey. Well, the Cincinnati Bengals didn't just meet the problem fairy last weekend. They had so many headaches that she couldn't carry them all. She had to bring along her niece. I'm sure the Bengals spilled their coffee Sunday morning. Of course they burned the toast. The plumbing was probably horrible. They tripped over the dogs and hit their heads on the coffee table. The dining room chairs slipped out from underneath them. The traffic was awful on the way to the park. Then things really got bad. Lewis Breeden intercepts and runs into the end zone for a safety. Coach Sam Weich feels that a zebra has motioned him onto the field and draws a penalty for going onto the field. Ray Horton, an outstanding Christian gentleman by most accounts, throws a tantrum that draws another penalty. Reggie Williams, respectable Ivy Leaguer, gets another flag. And amid the frustration, Chris Collinsworth spikes the ball and gets called for delay of game. Sure, the Bengals had excuses. They said the Jets were hitting quarterback Boomer Esiason late and then exulting in Mark Gastineau's war dances. But on as bad a day as a team has had this year, the real lesson was that when you wake up with the problem fairy, you go to sleep wondering why. If life has to send you to the poorhouse, they always put a hill in front of it. And if you want to know about problem fairies, consider which is worse, being picked by me to win a game or being mentioned in Larry King's report.
Have you ever had occasion to meet the PF fairy?
Every Monday when you go 1 in 4, she's right there, Bill, to remind you.
Thank you, Peter. We'll see you all at halftime. The games are next.
Tuesday, Remington Steel takes a first-class flight to catch the claim check killer with an unbeatable offer.
Let me throttle your engines.
Could ground him. Tuesday.
Only First Eastern has this. A passbook that pays money market rates. First Eastern Bank, member FDIC.
They call her the goddess. She's part of a proud tradition, an uncompromised reputation for quality, craftsmanship, and attention to detail. We, too, enjoy a very special reputation for quality. That's what Joseph the Furrier is all about. We created our reputation carefully through 93 years of experience and dedication to fashion. Joseph the Furrier, downtown Scranton, surprisingly affordable, yet traditionally superior.
Next Wednesday on St. Elsewhere.
It's Stephen Craig, Mark's son.
Where is he? A pregnant woman was riding shotgun. She ought to be here any minute. Just hold on, Stephen.
He's my only child. She's having contractions.
Don't tell me how I should feel.
Let's go, let's go!
Clear.
St. Elsewhere, unforgettable, next Wednesday.
Sweat it out on a hair trigger. No compromise. No mercy.
Dead or alive. I don't care.
No surrender.
So what went wrong?
They broke all the rules.
Take me instead. Let her go.
Make peace. They got nothing to lose.
1 second after she's dead, you're dead.
Dempsey and Makepeace.
Sunday at 11:30 on WBRE 28.
28, let's all be there.
The National Broadcasting Company presents the National Football League. Today, from Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Dallas Cowboys. Brought to you by Jeep Cherokee. There's a feeling you can get only in a Jeep. By Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. And by Manville. 21,000 people with one goal, to be America's very best supplier.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to an autumn day in Texas, and that means that it will be warm. The temperature in the 80s, and the humidity will also be in the 80s. Hello, everybody. I'm Charlie Jones, and this is Merlin Olsen. And it seems only fitting, Merlin, that in the year of Super Bowl 20 that NBC will be covering in January, that today we have a Super Bowl atmosphere between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys.
A lot of Super Bowl history with these two teams. Charlie, they've made 9 trips to that great game. They came away with 6 championships. In fact, in Super Bowl 10 and Super Bowl 13, the matchup was the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Dallas Cowboys.
And the Pittsburgh Steelers won both of those Super Bowls. And the man today that the Steelers will have to stop and that everybody will be watching, particularly early in the ball game, is Tony Dorsett, because Tony needs only 31 yards to reach that milestone of 10,000 yards rushing.
Well, even without that great milestone, just a step away for Tony Dorsett, both teams need Tony Dorsett. There's no question about it. He's the key to the Dallas offense, and the Pittsburgh Steelers defense make him their #1 priority.
You think of rushing, you mentioned, and we talk about Tony Dorsett, but the Pittsburgh Steelers also have to have a rushing attack today.
Well, with Mark Malone, a very young quarterback, you'd like to take some pressure off of him. You need to do that with your running game. Now, last week, Walter Abercrombie had a big game against the Miami Dolphins, able to get out and get some good yardage. They need that kind of performance from he and Frank Pollard today.
We mentioned the two teams. We mentioned the 2 running backs. Let's now move to the 2 head coaches, and they are truly great ones, Tom Landry and Chuck Noll.
Tom Landry, of course, the dean of NFL coaches with 26 years. Noll has 17 years. Both seem to be kind of taciturn, a little bit quiet, low-key on the sideline, but very intense competitors. They're great teachers, great communicators, and they get their football teams ready to play this game of football.
Just a little footnote. Chuck Noll is the 15th head coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tom Landry is #1, one and only head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. He has been the head coach since they started here in 1960. The deep back for the Pittsburgh Steelers is Rich Ehrenberg. As the Steelers won the toss and they elected to receive, Septien kicks off and we are underway. It is taken by Sam Washington off on the right wing. Washington bobbles the ball, returns it to the 12-yard line. Not an auspicious start for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The quarterback will be Mark Malone. The running backs, Walter Abercrombie and Frank Pollard. The receivers, Stallworth and Lips outside. The tight end, Benny Cunningham, activated this week coming off of injured reserve. Offensive line, Penny, Wolfley, Webster, Long, and Tooch Ilkin. Abercrombie, as you predicted, gets the call. He has to have the running attack. Defensively, too tall. Dutton, White, and Jeff Coat, those are all #1 draft choices. Hegman, Lockhart, and Rohr are the linebackers. And in the secondary, they'll have their hands full. Walls, Fellows, Clinkscale, and Downs.
You're already seeing substitutions. The Cowboys love to substitute on those 3rd and long situations.
A loss of a yard, 2nd and 11. Abercrombie. 9 yards to the 20. It'll be 3rd down and a couple.
Walter Abercrombie. Good quickness, good strength. He said, this is a homecoming for me. He was born down the way here in Waco, Texas. He's got family here today. Good start on the draw play for Abercrombie. Dallas Cowboys anticipating the pass, and that's one way to slow down that pass rush, Charlie.
The Steelers come in now with 2 tight ends as Gothard comes in to join Cunningham. The wide receivers come out short yardage, 3rd down and 2. Pick it up.
I think he's short, Charlie. They're challenging that Dallas defensive line. They ran right up the gut at Ed Too Tall Jones. Watch the right side of your screen. Webster doing a good job of moving Dutton. Excuse me, that's Dutton. They moved back from that side. But Randy White able to get in there. They got Lockhart in there to make the stop. That's Pollard trying to get over the top. Just simply did not make it. There's Randy White, 54, right in the middle of your screen. He's not in on that play. That's a good job by Craig Wolfley, number 73 of blocking.
4th down and 1. Here's the kick by Newsom with Leon Gonzalez set to return.
Great kick, Charlie.
20-yard line. To the 30. Fumbles the ball.
Oh, he's down.
They're going to blow the play dead. A 51-yard kick and a 13-yard return by Leon Gonzalez. And Preston Gothard, the tight end, was down for the Steelers. Now let's look to the Dallas Cowboy offense with Danny White, Tony Dorsett, James Jones. The wide receivers are Hill and Renfro, and Doug Cosby is the tight end. That offensive line, Posderick is scheduled to start. It may be Schultz. We'll check that in a moment for you. Titans are Rafferty, Peterson, and Cooper, the offensive line.
It is Schultz in there, Charlie. Posderick, I guess, is not ready to go.
Still bothered by that knee injury. So Dallas goes to work on their own 33. 1st down, no score in the game. Dorsett, the remaining back. Renfro in motion. Play action. Quick screen left side to Tony Hill. Hill near the 40-yard line. He'll pick up about 7. It'll be 2nd and 3. Clayton makes the tackle. The defensive front 3, Keith Willis, John Goodman, and Edmund Nelson for the Steelers. Merriweather, Little, Cole, and Brian Hinkle, the linebackers. Woodruff and Clayton on the corners. Shell and Williams at the safeties. They mark it at the 39, so it is 2nd down and 4. Cosby in motion. And out to Cosby, and he's out of bounds just before the 1st down marker. Needed another step to pick up the 1st down.
Charlie, one of the signatures of this Pittsburgh defense is the positioning of the nose tackle. They like to angle him on the center. Look at him right there. He's angled in toward the center. Rafferty, Tom Rafferty, and that's John Goodman. Goodman, by the way, 6'6", really a big nose tackle. That's a coming trend in the NFL. You see him using great power to crack the pocket on that play.
Does he give up something by angling in?
Well, I think it's a little more difficult for him to go back to his left. I think it's kind of tough.
Cincinnati 7, the Giants nothing. That score just in. Had to come early in that ball game. Started the same time as this one. 3rd down and just about a foot. Cowboys pick it up. John Williams has the 1st down, and Dwayne Woodruff with the tackle. Mark it at the 45-yard line.
Brian Solonon, the extra tight end. He's the 3rd tight end in there. He's a busy guy. They play him mostly at linebacker now, and he's also on the tight end core in the short yardage. I said, how do you go to all those meetings? He said, well, it's defensive meetings all week, and then Friday I go to the offensive meetings.
Does that tell you that the offense is easier?
No, not here in Dallas it doesn't, Charlie.
At the Dallas 45-yard line, first down. No score. And no gain. Dorsett is stopped. On his first carry, it'll be second down and 10. Mike Merriweather with the tackle.
One of the people we're going to watch today, number 57 in the black uniform, Mike Merriweather. Merriweather is an impact player. You'll see him right there in the middle of your screen, number 57. Watch him get off the block. He delays here momentarily. Jim Cooper blocking on him, number 61, and then slips into the secondary to help make that tackle. Keith Willis, number 92, the first man there on the back.
They mark it for a loss of a yard, so it's second down and 11. And White drops it out far side. And here goes Dorsett. 39-yard line of Pittsburgh. Donnie Shell makes the tackle, 17 yards on the play as a receiver. He's an underrated receiver.
He's a fine receiver, but the key here is the read of the blitz. Robin Cole right up the gut. Danny White just cuts it short and flips that little toss out there. That's like a long handoff to the running back. Here's Dorsett all the way on that play, swinging out, and that ball perfectly thrown. Boy, that's just like handing it out there, and once you get him in the open, he'll hurt you.
First down, Dallas. At the Steelers 39, no score. We're in the first quarter with just over 10 minutes to go. White to throw. This is Jones, 34-yard line. James Jones in his 5th year, number 3 draft choice back in '80. But he missed 2.5 years with a knee injury.
Well, he's getting some flying time now. Timmy Newsome is injured. Number 30 is not on the field today. There's a stat that we've looked at, Charlie.
80% of their games here in Texas Stadium.
Boy, they are tough.
And you know that's a home field advantage.
And look at this. They also own the best record in the NFC against AFC teams, 38-14. Most impressive.
Second down and 5. No gain. Dorsett is shut off at the 34-yard line by John Goodman. And it'll be third down and 5. So you look for the Cowboys to throw here.
Charlie, as impressive as that stat is against the AFC, now look at the series record of these two teams. The Steelers lead. There aren't many teams that can claim that in their series with the Cowboys, and they've won the last 5 straight. Now, these two teams don't meet that often, including the big 2 victories that we talked about earlier in the Super Bowl.
Third and 5. And here is Mike Merriweather with the sack. You talked about Merriweather a moment ago. In addition to everything else, he plays in the special teams.
Boy, I'll tell you, he is fast. They say he can run a 4.5 40. Watch him coming from the right side. He just blows by Chris Schultz, and he's on top of Danny White before White can even move, and stripped him to the ground. But we've got a flag down, Charlie.
2 drop downfield at the 16-yard line. You can tell by the crowd reaction against the Steelers.
Officials sorting that out, and that is a big break for these Pittsburgh Steelers. It will give the Cowboys a first down.
At the 29-yard line of Pittsburgh.
Landry talking to Jim Myers, the offensive line coach there. Sideline, deciding how they're going to approach it now that they're into Pittsburgh territory.
And the Cowboys with the first break of the ball game, it would have been 4th down and about 15. And they would have been punting. And Dorsett is just, first they string him out, and then Eric Williams takes him out of bounds at the 32-yard line. So he'll lose about 3. It'll be second down and 13. So thus far, Tony Dorsett's quest of 31 yards has been really tough to come by.
Well, those are not easy yards against this Pittsburgh Steeler defense, Charlie. In the league, they rank 15th against the run, but they're tough. I'll tell you, they got some big physical people up front, and the strength of this defense is in that linebacking core.
On the Dorsett update, 3 carries, he's lost 3 yards rushing. And now John Williams is in as a blocking back. Little play action. And a sack. Keith Willis gets this one. No flag, so that officially is the first sack of the ball game. The other one was erased by the penalty.
Charlie, that's an outstanding play by the big left end, and he's coming back to the form that allowed him to sack the quarterbacks 15 times back in '83. Did not have that big year last year. But watch the left side of your screen. He's alone. Danny White did not have an open receiver, and there was no place to go. That sets him back, puts him in a very long yardage situation. 3rd and almost 20 yards.
And they'll come from the shotgun. Is dropped at the 30-yard line, way shy of the first down. He'll miss it by 10 yards. He picks up 7. It'll be 4th down.
Brian Hinkle was, as a linebacker, responsible for mirroring the quarterback. He stayed up there as protection against the last-minute dropout by a running back or against a scramble from White. I think he was surprised. White just pulled it down and took off. Hinkle able to stop him, but not until he got back almost to the original line of scrimmage.
Hogaboom to hold, and Septien, a field goal attempt from 47 yards away. That is within his range, but he's got a bad right shoulder. He told you about it yesterday. And he misses, pulls it to the left side from 47 yards away. And so, with 6:53 left to go, we're in the first quarter, and we have no score. We'll be back in just a moment.
Jeep Cherokee has some advantages you ought to look into, like superior cargo room and room for 5 with a choice of 2 or 4 doors and 4-wheel drive you can shift on the fly. But the most important advantage, Cherokee is all Jeep, inside and out.
Bud's for everyone who puts the roads on the map.
This Bud's for you, for all you do. The king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, just for you. That distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do, this Bud's for you.
You can manage your business with the Tandy 6000 from Radio Shack, a powerful multi-user system that allows your office to work together by sharing one computer with word processing and data processing for strategic planning and control. Information sharing is essential for success, and the Tandy 6000 gives you a wealth of information for sound business decisions. Tandy computers, in business, for business, only at Radio Shack Computer Centers.
Charlie? This is Charlie Jones and Merlin Olsen, Texas Stadium. Steelers will have the ball for the second time.
Well, they certainly will. And, you know, it's interesting. I asked Chuck Noll just before the game. I said, does it help you to have this kind of an edge when you've beaten a team 5 times in a row? You saw that long drive by the Cowboys there that ended up with 0 points. That hurts you when you can't convert. It's a problem the Cowboys had. He said, I don't know if it helps you to have an edge on a team in numbers, but it certainly can't hurt you.
Steelers from their own 30-yard line. Here's Abercrombie. He has to fight for 5 yards to the 35. It'll be second down and 5.
Abercrombie has asked for the football. He wants to run it more. In particular, he wants to run up the gut. But this Cowboy defense is very tough against the running game inside. There's Abercrombie coming from the far side behind a block right there by Pollard. The lead by Terry Long. 5'11", one of the shortest guards, the offensive lineman in the league, but good power running there. Let's go and look at Randy White. He's one we're going to focus on all day. Draws 2 blocks, still gets outside, gets his hand on the ball carrier.
Malone throws complete, first down to Benny Cunningham, the tight end. That is the first reception for a tight end this year. Of course, the first reception for Cunningham coming off of injured reserve. That's good. A major note.
Here it is, and that has got to be a great relief for these Steelers. Benny Cunningham, of course, has been on IR, has been injured. They're glad to have him back. Very often they've had wide receivers open and tight ends open. They go to the wide receivers. They simply trust them. They haven't trusted Nelson in particular, the guy who's been playing in there.
And here's Frank Pollard. Pollard cuts back against the grain, moves to the Dallas 46-yard line. He picks up 5. It'll be second down and 5. That last pass play to Cunningham was good for 14 yards.
we've promised to follow number 54, Randy White, give you an idea of what kind of day he was having. That's Webster, 52, and Wolfley, 73. And they really are trying to keep him inside on that play. Pollard cutting back on his own, and White reading the play well. Gets a piece of the tackle. He is so strong and so quick. He really is all over the field.
And here's Pollard. He tries the right side and goes to the 44-yard line. So it'll be third down and around 3 yards to go. A couple of scores just in. Cincinnati in front of the Giants 7-0 that we showed you earlier. And this one, Detroit 3 and Washington 0. Murray with a 33-yard field goal. Third down and 3. No score. And we have 4.5 minutes left to go. We're in the first quarter at Texas Stadium. Malone with time throws. It is tipped and almost pulled down by Stallworth. John Stallworth couldn't quite hang on to it, but a good effort.
Great reactions from Stallworth, who's one of the league's premier receivers. That ball is well thrown by Malone, but thrown low. And watch it right here, tipped by, I believe that's Dutton that got his hand on that ball. And it went right into the hands of Stallworth. But once the ball is interrupted like that, it will take your concentration off of it. Pure reaction on Stallworth's part, but couldn't hang on to it.
And Newsom's first punt good for 51 yards. He goes for the corner. Gonzalez moves under it, and he's got it. It'll be inside the 10, outside the 10, right at the 10-yard line. Good kick. We have no score. 4:16. Time remaining. We're in the first quarter. Pittsburgh and Dallas.
Hello there. With all the wine coolers out on the market, we are always being asked which one we think is of the highest quality and tastes the best. Well, to be sure of being completely honest and unbiased, Ed and I have placed each of our answers separately in an envelope. Ed's answer is the Bartles & James Premium Wine Cooler. That is funny. So is mine. Well, you cannot argue with research. Thank you very much for your interest and your support.
Watching is believing. Watch Toyota Corolla reshaped by the benefits of Renault. Watch Renault Alliance's larger trunk burst through. Add more room. A longer wheelbase. Fuel injection under the hood. In fact, 76 of 100 shoppers surveyed chose Alliance superior overall to Corolla. European technology with 550 plus. America's best small car protection. Toyota owners.
You aren't watching.
Get 8.8% factory financing on any 86 Alliance or Encore.
Teamwork, people working together. That's what it takes to achieve a difficult goal. For the people at Manville, the goal is this: to be America's very best supplier of quality products. Simple? Yes. Easy? No. Achievable? Well, the 21,000 people of Manville think so, and they're working together so you'll have the products you need when and where you need them. Yes, Manville is 21,000 people with one goal: to make Manville America's very best supplier.
This fall, NBC Sports has a November to remember when the starting gate snaps open, hoofs thunder, and hearts pound at the Breeders' Cup. 7 championship races, the richest event in the sport of kings. Live from New York, America's Day at the Races, the Breeders' Cup. A November to remember on NBC.
And the Breeders' Cup, horse racing's biggest day. Be sure to be with us on November the 2nd. Looking forward to that one. No score. Dallas has the ball at their own 10-yard line. And the give is inside as Dorsett, everybody watching him, swings wide to the right side. And the ball carrier is John Williams.
Landry will call all of the plays, basically, for this Dallas offense. One of the first coaches to simply say, I want to control the game plan. Now, he's matching wits with one of the brightest young defensive coaches in football, and we'll give you a peek at him later on. He is not on the field. Tony Dungy is upstairs, but we managed to sneak a picture of him. We'll show you that in a minute.
Second down and 8 at the 12. Dorsett, the remaining back. Dorsett was closer to the record when he had breakfast this morning. He's lost 3 yards rushing already. We've got whistle.
I think they took too much time. Charlie, Chuck Noll rolling players in and out of the game today. Gary Dunn now in at nose tackle. Can you believe this? 4 weeks ago, they operated on his knee. Orthoscopic surgery. He's now on the field. No believes that on a hot day like today, you got to move your players in and out. And on this field, the Cowboys are in the shade. The Steelers in those black uniforms are along the sideline where the sun beats down on them. That's being home field and visitor, Charlie.
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
Here's Dorsett. 5 yards to the 12-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 8 to go. Brian Hinkle with the tackle.
Tony Dorsett, just such a master. A little misdirection. Starts to the left, cuts back to the right. Look how he uses that blocking. I think that Dorsett sets blockers up about as effectively as any back I've ever seen. Now he needs 26, but at 10,000, Charlie, he's picking him up. He's biting and chewing.
But it's like it's watching an artist at work, because Dorsett is to running backs, and Michelangelo is to ceilings.
Oh, all right, Charlie.
Here's Danny White.
Look out.
Pressure. Merriweather decked him just as he released it to Dorsett. Dorsett with a spin and a turn to the 19-yard line. Woodruff with a tackle. Ooh, that was close to being a safety.
Reminiscent, Charlie, of a little flip pass that got Danny White in trouble against the Detroit Lions. He's under all kinds of pressure here. Keith Willis, 93, coming in. He's going to flip that ball right here before Merriweather knocks him to the ground. Gets it to Dorsett. Dorsett can't get away from Dwayne Woodruff. Gets very close to the 1st down, but they'll have to kick it away.
4th down, and Mike Saxton will be kicking to Rick Woods.
Not a good kick, Charlie.
Fair kick taken at the 44. And returns to Dallas territory. So when we come back, the Steelers will go to work at the Pittsburgh 49-yard line. A punt of only 38 yards.
The enemy, potholes. When pavement cracks, it can tear your tires to shreds. Now consider Vector, Goodyear's unique all-season radial. Its crisscross tread has a backbone of belted steel to help repel road hazards and deliver thousands of miles of sure-footed performance. The Goodyear Vector. It simply performs like no other tire in the world.
If you're wondering about your future, listen to some people who are sure about theirs. The Army pointed the way, and I'm going somewhere.
Right now, I'm moving towards my future.
We're getting stronger every day.
All you need is ambition.
I wanted the biggest challenge I could get my hands on.
I'm learning, training, moving.
My future looks great.
Find your future in the Army.
I'm glad I'm here.
Wherever you are in America, there's one car battery the weather finds tough to beat. One car battery that outsells any other, the Sears DieHard. Right now, you can have a new DieHard battery installed in your car for just $54.99 and join the millions who put their confidence in DieHard, America's best-selling replacement battery.
There's more for your life at Sears.
This fall, NBC Sports has a November to remember when the starter's flag drops on the inaugural running of the CART Miami Indy Challenge. Racing's hottest drivers, Mario Andretti, the Unsers, and Indy champion Danny Sullivan battle it out for the national championship. A November to remember on NBC.
As we come back to the action, you see Tony Dungy relaying messages down to his defense on the sideline. We mentioned that he's the defensive man matching wits with Tom Landry for the offense.
Steelers at the Dallas 49, no score. Stallworth and Lips wide to the near side. The pitch is to Abercrombie, and he'll pick up around 8 yards, maybe 9 on the play. Now let's check the scoreboard. Cincinnati 14, the Giants nothing. That's an upset working. Tampa Bay, that's another upset working. And Houston 3, Cleveland. This can be upset Sunday.
It certainly could. There's Mark Malone. Now, he's one of the 2 quarterbacks in the NFL, the other being the Raider quarterback, Mark Wilson right now, who calls his own plays. The defense is called by Ernie Stotner. You saw him briefly on the sideline for Dallas.
2nd down and 2.
Oh, nice running by Abercrombie. Ernie Stotner, you notice that he's dressed in a different color shirt than any of the other Dallas coaches. That's so that you can pick him out on the sideline. He'll signal the defenses in to his defensive linebacker. That's Eugene Lockhart will be calling him. You saw him, just a little movement of the hands. Doesn't need to say much. Lockhart knows what he's supposed to call. You see Landry talking to Ernie Stotner. Stotner, by the way, 15 years with the Pittsburgh Steelers as a defensive tackle. He's a Hall of Famer.
Abercrombie has picked up 24 yards in 5 carries. He comes out. Ehrenberg replaces him, and Ehrenberg goes in motion. And Malone goes deep. Stallworth is there. Can he get it? No, he's overthrown by a step. Another problem. He was going from shadow to sunlight and is looking back. Sometimes hard to pick up the ball in the stadium.
This is a particularly difficult stadium for a receiver to pick out a ball when it's coming high out of the top. You see him in the shadow here. Now watch him as he cuts to the outside. He bursts into the bright sunlight. I don't think he could have caught that football anyway, but he was open. He'd broken away from Ron Fellows, number 27, and that's, I'm sure, a distressing sign to Landry. Landry concerned about making sure that they're covering on those man-to-man coverages of the deep receivers.
2nd down and 10 at the Dallas 37-yard line. No score in the game as we're winding down the 1st quarter. Malone keeps both backs in the block. Stallworth this time pulls it in at the 29-yard line. He'll pick up 8, so it'll be 3rd down and a couple as we come to the close of the 1st quarter. 1 is in the book. 3 to go. Bill Bates with the last tackle. We have no score between the Steelers and the Cowboys.
AT&T, the right choice. Dan Vaught's 4th touchdown pass ties the game with Miami. It's now 3rd and 10 at the Dolphins' 25. Should the Chargers stay with their strength and run a post pattern or fool the Dolphins and run a sweep? What would you do?
We can help put people together. Hey, I got an idea. AT&T can help your business grow.
For us at American Express, building one worldwide nerve center was a dream come true. Finding the communications and information systems that could grow with us might have been a nightmare. We chose AT&T. You don't trust your dream to just anyone.
Whether it's telephones, information systems, long-distance services, or computers.
The right choice, AT&T.
What did you decide? The Chargers sent Buford McGee on a sweep, and his touchdown ended the Dolphins' win streak at 11. The San Diego Chargers made the right choice.
We're back at Texas Stadium. This is Charlie Jones and Merlin Olsen. We alluded to it when Pittsburgh had the ball. They completed their first pass to a tight end this year to Benny Cunningham. I'm really surprised that they haven't been able to go to the tight end.
Charlie, they only had 11 passes to their tight ends all of last year. But you know what that does for a defense? That means that they can ignore your tight end and double cover all the other people. Look at that reception comparison between the Steelers and the Cowboys. The Cowboys have 31 passes to their tight ends. The Steelers, before this game, 0 on the year. The Steelers, by the way, have always relied on their wide receivers. And look at that number there. 59 of their catches during this year have gone to the wide receivers. Lips and Stallworth primarily, although Ouija Thompson has a couple.
And Lips and Stallworth as a pair have the most receptions of any two wide receivers in the NFL.
Oh, they certainly are impressive, Charlie. You know, I talking earlier to Jerry Tufts, who coaches the linebackers for the Dallas Cowboys, and he talked about those two. He said, you know, Stallworth is such a courageous receiver. He comes in, he'll catch anything, doesn't care how you're going to hit him. And he said Lips is amazing because of his great body control.
One more note on the tight ends for the Steelers. How would you like to be a tight end in college and be drafted by Pittsburgh?
Oh,
could be the end of a career.
Kiss of death.
3rd down and 2 at the Dallas 29-yard line. No score in the ballgame. Oh, good defensive play as Abercrombie is dropped for a loss. Eugene Lockhart, the hitting machine.
Well, Eugene was on top, but it was Mike Hegman that got the first hit, Charlie. And you'll see Hegman blitzing in from the outside. Watch him go right underneath the block. Look at him right there. He made the first hit. Lockhart wraps him up. Nice play. And the 3rd man in on the tackle, 54, Randy White. But watch the hit right there. Good penetration. 1, 2, 3. Dexter Clinkscale, excuse me, the 3rd man in on that tackle.
And Gary Anderson out of the hole to Scott Campbell, a 49-yard attempt, and it is good. From 49 yards away, and the Steelers move on top by a score of 3-0 with 14:20 left to go in the second quarter.
Who has taken the intimidation out of VCR programming?
Give me that.
RCA, with the first remote programmable VCR.
Bird brain.
You record exactly what you want, when you want, by remote control for easy mistake-proof programming. So simple.
I can do it myself.
From RCA.
Crow Wing, Minnesota, and Old Milwaukee both mean something great to these guys. Crow Wing means Northern Pipe, big and mean, and Old Milwaukee means a great beer, cold, crisp Old Milwaukee beer, and smooth, golden Old Milwaukee Light. It's a beauty.
And Old Milwaukee.
And Old Milwaukee Light.
Taste as great as their name.
You know, it doesn't get any better than this. If you've got your mind all made up about small cars, then you're watching the wrong commercial. But if you'd like to learn about something special, this new Mazda 323 is built on an extra rigid platform to give it the ride of a larger car. It could just change your mind about small cars.
Introducing the all-new fuel-injected Mazda 323 sports sedan. So refined and so advanced, it's the road car of small cars.
But don't listen to me. Drive one. Today's game is brought to you by Mazda Cars and Trucks. The more you look, the more you like Mazda value. By Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It doesn't get any better than this. And by Midas. For mufflers, brakes, and shocks. Trust the Midas touch.
14 minutes and 20 seconds. That is the time remaining in the first half. Gary Anderson for the Steelers just converting a 49-yard field goal, kicking off either to Levette or to Williams. And this is John Williams on the return. Williams to the 30, returns near the 35-yard line. 30 yards on the return, and Harvey Clayton makes the tackle.
You don't make that kind of return without good blocking up front. There was the Dallas wedge. Levette out in front of him to be a personal blocker there. But most of that is just good, elusive power running by John Williams, number 38. The Cowboys got him out of the USFL. He's played a lot of football over the last couple of years, but they think he's perhaps the power back of the future here in Dallas.
Dorsett, 4 carries, has rushed for only 2 yards thus far. Little play action, fake tight end, Cosby over the middle, 43-yard line, gain of 9, second down and 1.
And Charlie, that's a perfect illustration of how the Cowboys have utilized their tight ends so effectively. Cosby, a fine receiver. They even keep him in on extra long yardage situations because he's so dependable. And within this Cowboys system, it's an amazing system in a sense that even a guy without incredible athletic skills, and Cosby is a good athlete, but not on a class with some of the other guys on the field, you can really be boosted by the system here in Dallas.
Second down and 1. Here's Dorsett, and may have a yard. He's ridden down by Brian Hinkle. He needed a yard for the first down. That's about the total that he'll get. It'll be close to the first down.
This Pittsburgh defense extremely aggressive. You saw them coming across on that last play.
Let's check the scoreboard. Well, Washington now has taken the lead, 10-3 over Detroit. They're still in the first quarter. Minnesota and Green Bay, no score as they move to the second period. Philadelphia 3, St. Louis nothing in the first quarter. 39-yard field goal by McFadden in that ball game. Upset Sunday is well underway.
Eugene, the hitting machine Lockhart. He earned that name, didn't he, Charlie?
Yes, he did. He earned it in high school. And the reason he earned it in high school, in one high school game, he knocked out 7 opponents, knocked them out. 2 of them said at halftime their bell was rung. 5 did not want to come back to the ball game. He grew up in Crockett, Texas, named for Davy Crockett. It is said that Davy camped there on his way to the Alamo.
Well, he's camped on a few people today, let me tell you. He is a hitter. Just learning this Dallas system, though, it takes time.
Third down and about a half a yard to go.
3 tight ends.
John Williams just leaning near the 45. David Little led the defensive surge, and he'll have the first down.
The Dallas Cowboys love to use those tight ends coming back into the middle of the line. Now Brian Solonon, number 89, is going to come from the right side of your picture. Watch him now as he drifts into the picture. He'll actually become a trapping lineman. You'll see him right there, ducking up inside, a wedge. There you see him. Well, if we can find him. Solonon, number 89, going up in behind Cooper and Kurt Peterson to help pave the way for that first down.
Dorsett running into problems again, and this time it's Robin Cole that shuts him down. The Steelers do not want him to pick up the 31 yards and reach the 10,000-yard mark in a game against their defense.
Charlie, I talked to Tony Dungy, and he said there's no question our first priority of the day is to stop Tony Dorsett. We want to force them to throw the football. They're not worried about him breaking a record. They're not even worried about the yards he gets, but obviously that priority has helped them to stop him so far in this game.
Another sidebar, Dorsett has never in his career rushed for 100 yards or more against the Steeler defense. And here's Danny White. There's Dorsett.
You can't keep the great ones down all day. They stopped him on the ground, but they did not stop him in the air. 56 yards on this completion over the top of David Little, number 50, and Tony Dorsett is in the end zone.
And here he goes again. If he can't do it one way, he'll do it another. 66 yards on the drive in 5 plays, and Septien to add the point after, and it is good. And the Dallas Cowboys have taken the lead 7-3 in the ballgame. Danny White has completed 7 of 7 for 102 yards. He's having a perfect afternoon.
If all you want from a small truck is a bed in the back, then you're not ready for this one. This guy actually handles, and I never thought I'd say that about a truck.
Introducing Mazda's new B2000 SE5. With radial tires, Spoker wheels, sporty stripes and mirrors, rear step bumper, a 5-speed and a double wall bed, all standard and all at a price close to Toyota's and Nissan's base trucks.
Are you ready for something this special? You should be.
Hey, it ain't easy to do road tricks first time around. Same goes for smokeless tobacco. But here's one that's easier to use. Skoal Long Cut. Now, it's not chewing tobacco. Long Cut means it packs easy. Stays put between your cheek and gum. So Skoal Long Cut makes it easy to enjoy tobacco without lighting up.
You can get it in mint or original wintergreen. Easy to use, great taste. That's Skoal Long Cut.
It's a lot easier than this.
We didn't know where to turn. When you've lost everything, you don't know what to do.
On March 17th, a tornado ripped through the home of Marv and Marion Camerlander. Allstate update. Home replacement cost guarantee.
A little over 3 months after we had been totally destroyed by the tornado, we moved back into our new home. If it wasn't for Allstate, we wouldn't be in our new house today.
And I guess that really proves you're in good hands with Allstate.
A member of the Sears Financial Network.
Game day. The NFL 85 locker room. Meet Pete Axtell, our own prognosticator and pundit, here preparing his picks of the week. Though his calls can be controversial, you'll always get predictions with a point of view from Pete Axtell, part of the team that's putting the fun back in football.
In addition, that was only Dorsett's second touchdown of the season and his first receiving.
Well, if they don't hurt you one way, they hurt you another.
And Septien will be kicking off. And this will go for a touchback out of the side of the end zone. We'll bring it out to the 20-yard line, and the Steelers will go to work trailing 7-3.
Septien kicking with power, but Charlie, you mentioned his shoulder. He dove for a pass in practice the other day and injured his shoulder. I think maybe that would have an impact on the accuracy of your kicking, because you use the arms as you swing into those kicks. Hasn't hurt his power as he nailed that one out of the end zone.
But on the field goal attempt that he had earlier in the ballgame from 47 yards away, he pulled it wide to the left side. So he may be trying to compensate for the pain in the right shoulder, as Merlin talked about. Steelers first down, their own 20-yard line. Abercrombie and Pollard are the running backs. Pollard goes in motion. The pitch is to Abercrombie. And he has 5 yards to the 25. It'll be 2nd and 5 as Randy White makes the tackle.
One of the toughest jobs for the offensive lineman is to try and cut off. Well, watch Mike Webster here. He's trying to reach out and cut off Randy White on this play. Now White is going to watch the snap of the ball. He's driving outside. Webster going at his heels, but look at White. Doesn't even slow him down. Outside quickly in pursuit, and he's the man that makes the tackle on Abercrombie.
2nd and 5 at the 25. Interesting note, Walter Abercrombie, the leading rusher for the Steelers, is from Waco, and he went to Baylor. For the Cowboys, their leading rusher, of course, is Tony Dorsett, and he was raised in a suburb of Pittsburgh.
Well, you know, when Dorsett was holding out this year, at one time he said he was considering asking for a trade, and one of the teams he would like to have been traded to was the black and gold of Pittsburgh. He said that would have been like going home.
Doesn't he know that you cannot go home again? All right, we've got a timeout, and the Cowboys have the lead 7-3. We'll be back in just a moment.
Radio Shack knows when you're working for the future of your business, you need the high performance of the Tandy 2000. The performance to manage your business, the high performance to create and design, and the performance to market and sell. The high performance of the Tandy 2000 can meet your needs today and tomorrow. Tandy computers in business for business. Only at Radio Shack.
Boy, am I drained. I'm almost ready to burn out in this soft white light bulb. But if I were in the Sylvania soft white bulb, I'd last 5% longer. Why, in their 60 watt alone, I'd have 50 more shining hours. So get Sylvania's soft white light bulbs and get the most out of me.
Ask for Sylvania, where the best comes to light.
Don't tell me you know about turbos until you go have some fun with this little puppy. The turbo on Mazda's new 626 GT is a new design that lights up at low RPMs and stays lit. But maybe you're not ready for this much fun.
Introducing Mazda's new 626 GT Turbo. 0 to 60 in 8.1. Top speed 119. And a price thousands less than you'd expect for this level of performance.
Careful now. This one's mine.
Game day. The NFL 85 locker room. Meet Ahmad Rashad. His beat is the glamour side.
2nd and 5. Steelers ball at their own 25-yard line. Pittsburgh trailing Dallas 7-3. 2nd quarter. Malone with time over the middle. Pass is complete to Stallworth. Stallworth to the 35 has a gain of 10 and picks up the first down. Eugene Lockhart and Ron Fellows with the tackle.
If you want to go to one sure-handed receiver, Chuck Noll will point right now to number 82, John Stallworth, who just continues to perform at a very fine level. And he is fearless going inside, Charlie. When you stretch out like that, knowing you're going to get hit, you've got to have a lot of courage.
Check of the scoreboard. Denver 6, Indianapolis nothing. Rams and Tampa Bay tied 7-7. And Green Bay leading Minnesota 7-0. And here is Dallas 7, Pittsburgh 3. Steelers have the ball at their own 35. We've got just under 10 minutes to go in the first half as Frank Pollard carries to the 39-yard line. Gain of 4, so it'll be 2nd down and 6. Eugene Lockhart was the first man there for the defense.
Now, we mentioned earlier that the Steelers bench is in the sun. You can see that fan blowing to try and cool these players down. Temperature going up now as the sun beating down on the artificial turf. I think before the end of this day, the Steelers are going to be a lot hotter than the Cowboys. They've got the sun to contend with.
The temperature in the 80s, the humidity in the 80s. Chance of rain in the area tonight is 50%. Second back through is Abercrombie, and a flag is down on the play. Jim Jeffcoat making the tackle. And we've got a lot of baseball coming your way. You've been watching the League Championship Series. Well, Game 5, the Toronto Blue Jays and the Kansas City Royals at 4:30 Eastern time today. Of course, Toronto with a 3-1 lead in that. And so the Royals, with the cliche, their backs to the wall. The Dodgers and the Cardinals. The Dodgers lead 2-1 in that series. And that will be on at 8 o'clock tonight Eastern time.
Dick Enberg out helping to lead into those ball games, give the folks a little taste of baseball fever as we go in toward the conclusion of those championship series, Charlie.
An excellent telecast, too. It's really been fun to watch. 2nd and 1, 49-yard line. Pollard just juggled it on the handoff for a moment. Has the ball and the first down at the 46.
The Steelers have been rather predictable on their first downs, Charlie. They've run 5 times, only passed once so far.
Philadelphia 6 and St. Louis nothing. That score just in. And here it is, Dallas 7, Pittsburgh 3, a 56-yard touchdown pass from Danny White to Tony Dorsett. And for the Steelers, Gary Anderson with a 49-yard field goal. That's been the scoring, and we have just under 8.5 minutes to go second quarter. Malone back to throw. And he goes deep. Stallworth is there. He throws over the wrong shoulder. Stallworth was looking over his left shoulder. The pass came over his right shoulder. Malone is kind of waving to him downfield saying, my fault. You were there. Don't come on back. It's all right. It was my fault.
We mentioned earlier the outstanding tandems of wide receivers, Stallworth and Lips, #1 in the NFL. The second-ranked tandem, Hill and Renfro. And Hill has certainly caught the most passes, but in the past few weeks, Renfro has become a much more important asset and tool for Tom Landry. But here in Pittsburgh's side of the field, the two you want to go to, Lips right there, number 83, and we've talked a great deal already about number 82, Stallworth.
And Calvin Sweeney is in, so Stallworth can grab a breath of this warm air today. Malone has completed 3 of 6. Too tall, came across. Was he pulled on?
I think he was. It looked like Terry Long, number 74, jumped up early.
Start 74 offense. Second down.
Talking about 74, Terry Long, only 5'11", maybe the smallest offensive lineman in the league. You see him getting up early there, and of course that's an automatic penalty. Now just outside of him, Tonchi Olkin, you saw him briefly there in your picture. He's only 6'3". They're playing against Dutton and Jones at 6'8" and 6'9". These guys, they said, we're going to go out and get down quick so they can't see how small we are.
Second down and 15. Here's the draw, Abercrombie met at the line of scrimmage. No gain, 3rd down and 15. Bill Bates and Victor Scott were there.
Randy White, right in the middle of your picture, is up as a linebacker on that play, but it's Victor Scott, 22. That's Kevin Brooks, 99, and Bill Bates. Boy, they got everybody up on that one to knock him down. But we saw Randy White briefly there as a linebacker on that play. That's something the Cowboys are doing to try and cross up people this year.
The rushing defense of the Cowboys, as you can see,
improved. Much improved this year.
3rd down and 15. Pollard to the 49-yard line. That's a gain of 8, so it'll be 4th down and 7.
And you might say at home, why are they running in that kind of situation? Well, one of the things that the Steelers don't want to do is turn the ball over. They're second best in the NFL at doing that.
And so Harry Newsome will come in to bunt for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Leon Gonzalez is set for the return. He hangs this one up. Good hang time. Fair catch is called for and taken. 4.3 seconds to hang time. We'll be back in just a moment.
United Way salutes Pittsburgh and one of its leading citizens. For more than 50 years, Art Rooney has guided his beloved Pittsburgh Steelers. He helped build the foundations of professional football and set a standard of quality that has made the NFL unparalleled in professional sports. His calm, selfless counsel saw his team through the tough early years to the Steelers' first Super Bowl victory in 1975. The Steelers are the only NFL team to win.
Dallas first down, their own 12-yard line. Here's Dorsett. Has a yard to the 13, so it'll be second down and 9. Robin Cole with the tackle.
Dorsett trying to stretch that defense as he sprinted to the outside and then just cutting back inside. Robin Cole, for many years, an outside linebacker. Moved inside last year as Lambert retired and made the Pro Bowl. Many feel that had he been on the inside all these years, would have gained a lot more recognition. But I'll tell you, he is a great linebacker, great athletic talent, and really a powerful force on the inside.
Second and 9, Dallas leading 7-3, moving on the 6-minute mark. Time remaining first half. Sideline pass is complete to Tony Hill. And Hill has the first down at the 24-yard line, a gain of 11.
Tony Hill finds himself in Landry's doghouse every now and again. An outspoken player, doesn't always run the patterns exactly as they're planned, but you can't fault him here. A fine catch, and look how quickly he got those toes down. Just a little bit of artistry there as he gets the first down.
And Brian Hinkle was the Steeler chasing him. First down, Dallas at their own 24-yard line. Here's Dorsett. He's in trouble. Slips a tackle. Slips another one. Looks at Merriweather. Gets around him. He got away from Woodruff. Unbelievable just to get where he got. For an update, let's go to Bill McAtee in NFL 85.
All right, Charlie, Denver has scored against the Colts. Here's the play that set it up. John Elway to Clint Sampson. The play covers 45 yards. The ball goes down to the 1. Sammy Winder takes it in from there, but the extra point was missed. 6-0 Broncos.
Charlie, you may never see a greater run to be marked as a 1-yard gain. I think Dorsett did everything a great back can do on that play.
You're right, he did. Second down. And here's Dorsett. Cut down at the 25-yard line, so he'll lose a yard.
Let's go back and look at that previous play, because I think it shows you the great quality of Tony Dorsett as a back. He is trapped in the backfield by number 31, Donnie Shell, on the blitz. Look at that. Has to get ground to get away. Gets away from Robin Cole, pulling away with his power. And then that little quick move right there to pull Dwayne Woodruff, number 49, in, and then gets away from another tackle. I mean, that's amazing.
Back at the 24-yard line, so it's third down and 10. And Danny White in the shotgun. And
too much time. I think there's too much time.
And White has been plagued with injuries this year. All kinds of little things have been bothering him.
He certainly has, Charlie. Early in the year, he had separated rib cartilage. He then got a sprained ankle. He got a pulled muscle in his calf. He sprained his right wrist and his right thumb. I mean, you got to talk about travail. Danny White had to say, why? Hey, why me? Missed a couple of games right at the end of the preseason, but has managed to come back, and through all of that has really put together a pretty good season. He's had a tendency to make some mistakes under real pressure, but there aren't many quarterbacks who don't do that.
Key play right here is third down and 15. If the Cowboys don't pick up any kind of yardage here, that means, of course, they'll be kicking. The Steelers will have good field position. With pressure, and he goes down at the 15-yard line. A loss of 5.
Second sack of the day for Keith Willis, number 93. John Goodman also in there to get pressure on him, and the Steelers getting fine pressure out of that 3-man rush.
And so it sets up the return of Lewis Lips. Now the punt return man for the Steelers, and he can well give Pittsburgh excellent field position.
Oh, he's scary. Every time he touches the football, if you're a Dallas Cowboy, you got to tighten up a little bit and cringe.
Here's pressure. Good kick. Lips backpedals. 30-yard line. 35, 40 to the 43-yard line. 13 yards on the return, but a punt of 55 yards by Mike Saxon, and Victor Scott makes the tackle going downfield.
let's watch Lips on that last reception. Watch how he'll have a tendency to pick his eyes up, watch the kick. Now, in this case, because the kick was so deep, his concentration mostly on the ball. I don't even think he bothered to look at the rush because he knows when he's backing up, he's going to have time to deal with the rush after the fact. Usually, when he's standing, you'll see him look up at the ball and look back at the field. Oh, that is not good news. Dwayne Woodruff. One of the things that this Pittsburgh Steelers team does is to employ a lot of their first-line players on special teams. And that's the starting left cornerback of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's having a fine year. Let's see if we can see how he was injured on that last play. He'll be on the right-hand side of your screen. He's trying to block right there for Lips, and it looks like Lips comes up over the top. Oh, that's Billy Bates that came in while he was trying to block, hit by two players in the back, and went to the ground. We'll keep an eye on him, Charlie.
And we'll take a timeout. The score, Dallas 7 and Pittsburgh 3. We have 4 minutes and 9 seconds first half.
United Way salutes Pittsburgh and one of its leading citizens. For more than 50 years, Art Rooney has guided his beloved Pittsburgh Steelers. He helped build the foundations of professional football and set a standard of quality that has made the NFL unparalleled in professional sports. His calm, selfless counsel saw his team through the tough early years to the Steelers' first Super Bowl victory in 1975. The Steelers are the only NFL team to win 4 Super Bowl titles. Art Rooney and his family have been part of the vitality and tradition of the Pittsburgh community. His strong commitment to the United Way and the Catholic charities which they support has made him one of the most universally loved and respected citizens of Pittsburgh. And he's still helping others. Pittsburgh is said to be one big family. Art Rooney is the heart of that family. This message furnished by the National Football League.
Dwayne Woodruff being assisted from the field of combat. Not only the cornerback specialties, but a busy man off of the field as well. He attends law school 4 nights a week. Quite a man.
That's trainer Ralph Berlin on his left with the glasses on that met him as he came off the field, and that's got to be a concern for these Pittsburgh Steelers.
Cincinnati, they are turning their season around. 21-0 over the Giants in the second quarter. Houston leading Cleveland 6-0 in the second quarter. And Washington 17, Detroit 3 in the second period.
Well, that's good news and bad news for these Dallas fans, as I'm sure we would have heard a big roar if they'd have seen that score against the Giants, but maybe a boo for that score, a winning score by Washington, or at least they're leading anyway.
First down, Steelers, their own 43-yard line. Pittsburgh trails 7-3. Little play action to open it up. Wanted to go deep, pulls it short to Abercrombie, and Abercrombie goes out. At the 49-yard line, gain of 6, second down and 4. Dislocated elbow is the report on Dwayne Woodruff.
That is a serious injury. That's we would hope that that's one that can be worked on immediately. They'll put ice on that, but I doubt very much we'll see him again during the day today.
And let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
WBRE 28, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton.
This is Charlie Jones, Merlin Olsen. Malone going deep. Lewis Lips. Incomplete. Double coverage on Lips.
Mark Malone started with a bang this season. He had 6 touchdowns, 5 by passing and 1 by running in the opening game against the Colts. But he has been off the mark on his deep passes today, Charlie. He's had several receivers open, but has not been able to get the ball to them.
Touchdown passes, Mark Malone and John Elway tied with the most coming into this game, and Dan Marino with 48 last year, tied for 8th with 8. Third down and 4. Cowboys lead it 7-3. 3:55 left to go second quarter. Stallworth cutting back underneath the coverage, takes it at the 45, first down. Everson Walls with the tackle.
Charlie, what the Cowboys are trying to do on that play, they're trying to isolate Randy White one-on-one. Now watch them. They covered the center here. They've got an offensive or defensive lineman outside. They know he's got a block out here, and that leaves Randy White one-on-one. You'll also see the blitz from the outside on that last play as the Cowboys were able to get great pressure right here on Malone. There's the blitz coming right there by Thurman, the cornerback, coming from the outside. That's most unusual.
First down. It is high, almost intercepted.
Michael Downs, number 26, had his hands on the football. The Cowboys leading the league at 15 interceptions and a chance right there to up the total. Watch Downs timing it perfectly. This pass thrown on target, but Downs had read it beautifully. Watch it right here. Gets his hands on that football, and it's a good thing he did. Otherwise, that would have gotten in the hands of Benny Cunningham, and he would have had his second reception and the second for the tight ends of Pittsburgh for the year.
Second down and 10. Down his 44-yard line. Malone throwing into a crowd is caught by Stallworth at the 33. Gain of 11 and a first down. Everson Walls and Dennis Thurman are falling all over the receiver.
Let's go into that defensive line and look at what they're trying to do to get pressure on Malone, the quarterback. Randy White going to drive outside. His end on this side, Jeff Jeffcoat will slide underneath to swing to the inside. You'll get a chance to see them here. It's Randy White who eventually goes all the way around and gets in on Malone just as he unloads that football. But that's an excellent pass. Oh,
Malone is in the grasp. John Dutton with the sack. That is the first for the Cowboys. When you were playing, were there as many defensive games by the linemen as there are now?
We ran all kinds of defensive stunts to try and break loose. On this last play, though, that's Dutton just going one-on-one against Terry Long, gets outside of him, and then makes a good adjustment to Malone. Malone a little bit late stepping up, and that's one of the problems he's had as a quarterback, Charlie. He doesn't step up very well.
Second down, 16. Abercrombie, big hole. 33-yard line, has 6. So it'll be third down and 10. 2-minute warning will now be given to both benches as the #1 draft choice, Kevin Brooks of the Cowboys, makes the last tackle.
If you think there's no room for improvement in small trucks today, then go let the dog out, because you wouldn't want to know about Mazda's new Cab Plus. A small truck that's really big inside.
Introducing Mazda's all-new B2000 Cab Plus. One of the roomiest cabs in its class, includes room back here for 2 adults, plus unusual levels of quietness, ride, and handling. It's also the lowest-priced extended cab truck by hundreds.
You wouldn't know anybody who would want something this special, would you?
Who is busier than a bee? Who else but the investment firm of Smith Barney? Why in the world do they work so hard? Because Smith Barney knows that old-fashioned hard work is often the difference between getting stung or getting a taste of the honey. Smith Barney, they make money the old-fashioned way. They earn it.
Mobil 1 synthetic motor oil. The technology behind it gives this driver engine protection he can depend on. And this driver. And this driver. And this driver. Mobil synthetic oil technology. There's no finer engine protection on Earth or anywhere else.
Wednesday on St. Elsewhere.
Stephen Craig, Mark's son.
Where is he?
Just hold on, Stephen.
St. Elsewhere.
Clear.
Unforgettable. Wednesday.
Be sure to stay with us at halftime for NFL 85 with Bod, Ahmad, and Axe. Sounds like a rock group. They'll have all the scores and highlights.
Ahmad did a nice piece on the history of this matchup between these two teams in that pregame. Helped you to understand the intensity of a game like this.
Third down. intercepted. Good defensive play.
Jim Jeffcoat, number 77, batted that ball down. All kinds of stunts in there as they're attacking Mark Malone on 3rd and long. And Jeffcoat got his hands on that football and almost had a chance to intercept it as it fluttered to the ground. That's, Charlie, that's a lineman's dream. You see one of those hanging there like that.
49-yard field goal attempt by Gary Anderson, and he has already converted from this distance in this ballgame. This one, he pulls to the left side.
Boy, he had enough power. I think that would have been good if it had been on line from 69 yards.
So the score remains Dallas 7 and Pittsburgh 3.
And everybody had their eyes on that football as it cleared the line of scrimmage. You'll see the kick again, and you'll watch it hook off to the kicker's left and your right, and goes all the way. Watch it. It goes all the way into the stands, all the way through the end zone. Well, we don't quite see it, but anyway, it ended up in the stands.
Rick Woods has replaced Dwayne Woodruff at defensive left cornerback. Woodruff with a dislocated elbow. Dallas is a first down at their own 32-yard line. 1:51 to go first half. White has pressure, and he will be sacked by the second man. He stepped away from the first one, and then Gary Dunn got him. 3rd sack for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's the first time that Rick Woods has been forced into action at cornerback, and in this series, in this Pittsburgh defense, he's going to be bump and run man to man. Now that's a tough job.
White with the screen. It is James Jones to the 31.
With Timmy Newsome out of the lineup with that knee injury, they're going to what they've called a two-headed fullback. They're using James Jones, number 23, in passing situations, and John Williams, number 38, in the running situations. That time it was Jones's turn.
Loss of a yard on the last play, so it is 3rd down and 11. White with all kinds of time. Jones pulls it down. No, that is Mike Renfro. Pulls it down at the 49-yard line. 18 yards, first down.
When the Dallas Cowboys traded for Mike Renfro, they got a receiver that had been deemed expendable by the Houston Oilers. Well, I'll tell you, look at those hands and that concentration as he takes the ball down.
We've got a timeout, and we'll be back in just a moment.
This year, you'll apply your brakes over 50,000 times. And the more you stop, the more you'll need Midas. Because we back every brake repair we do with a nationwide guarantee on brake shoes and pads. If they should ever wear out, Midas will replace them free at over 1,400 locations for as long as you own your car. With such a good guarantee, why would you stop anyplace else?
Trust the Midas touch.
42 seconds, time remaining in the first half.
On that last play, we'll give you one more look at it. And that ball thrown into traffic here by Danny White. But watch the way Renfro, who gets his hands on it first and then loses the football, has to go down and dig that football almost off his hip as he pulled it in. And I'll tell you, Harvey Clayton's standing there shaking his head saying, hey, I don't believe that he got it and pulled it down. White 10 for 10, 137 yards and 1 TD. Having a great day.
And Dallas and Pittsburgh both have 2 timeouts remaining in the first half. Oh, almost intercepted. This was Brian Hinkle who went up with it for the Steelers.
We mentioned the dominant linebacking of this Pittsburgh Steeler team. That was just a good job of keying by Brian Hinkle, who's been having a fine year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. In fact, he's been overshadowed a little bit by Mike Merriweather. Merriweather, a more flamboyant player, but Hinkle's certainly having a great year. And you got to believe that Raphael may believe he'll have a little chance here to stretch that Dallas lead.
Second down and 10, 49-yard line. Let's follow this play from our end zone camera as White comes back to the camera. And he goes to Tony Dorsett, and it's incomplete.
Charlie, Tony Dorsett has quietly become the number four in the leading receivers of this Dallas Cowboy team. And one of the things he wanted to do was to have a chance to get deep more often. And Tom Landry has given it to him here today. You saw him on the catch earlier, and I believe that's the same pattern again. That one's slightly overthrown, and we have a Dallas Cowboy down. It's Glenn Titensor, number 63, that's on the ground and being attended to by the Cowboys. And that's one of the problems the Cowboy offensive line suffered with so hard last year, was injuries to their offensive linemen. They certainly had done a better job of keeping everybody healthy and protecting their quarterback and doing all the things that good offensive linemen do, but that might be a problem. That looked like a serious injury, Charlie.
And don't forget that later today, the battle for the pennants continues on NBC Sports. Playoff fever begins at 4:30 Eastern Time with Game 5 of the American League Championship Series between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Kansas City Royals, and the Blue Jays lead 3-1 in that. And then tune in at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for the League Championship Series at Inside Look, and Dick Enberg will be hosting that, followed by Game 4 of the National League Championship Series, and in that the Dodgers lead the Cardinals 2-1. They'll be in Busch Stadium. The tradition is here. The memories are waiting on NBC Sports.
And good news for Cowboy fans and those who follow Glenn Titensor. He is off walking on his own. Broderick Thompson, number 67, one of those huge, tall, young offensive linemen. The Cowboys have 3 of them: Thompson and Crawford Kerr and Chris Schultz. And they're taking Titensor all the way into the locker room. It's almost the half. He'll go in and they'll possibly give him some treatment before the half. But they've got the rookie Broderick Thompson in at right tackle, or in at left guard on this particular series now.
3rd down and 10. The plays are all even. Each offense has run 28 plays to this point in the first half. Pittsburgh with a 3-man defensive rush. They drop everybody back in the pattern. But that does not stop Mike Renfro. Big first down at the 32-yard line. A gain of 19.
That's what Pittsburgh did to Dan Marino last week. They rushed 3 people and dropped 8. They gave Marino fits as they switched up their defenses. On this play, you'll see Renfro looking for that open space. Look how he just spotted the seam in that zone. They're working him short and long, getting help from Brian Hinkle inside. But Renfro able to find some space in that zone defense, took the reception for a first down.
And the Cowboys take a timeout to stop the clock with 23 seconds left to go in the second quarter. The report on Glenn Titensor is a bruised left knee. That is the preliminary report, and that of course means that he can come back and play in the second half.
Well, anytime you see them down checking the knees of those big offensive linemen, you worry. Those big fellows take a lot of shots, and I was glad to see him walking off the field, Charlie.
Today's telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Dallas Cowboys and the National Football League is prohibited. And don't forget, coming up at halftime, NFL 85 with all the scores and highlights of the other games around the National Football League and some of the early scores coming in. Maybe looking at another upset Sunday, but NFL 85 will give you that update. 1st and 10 at the Steeler 32-yard line. The Cowboys are right on the edge of Septienne's range. Incomplete. Renfro, the intended receiver. It'll be 2nd down and 10 at the 32-yard line. Harvey Clayton had the coverage. We've got 19 seconds left to go in the half.
Landry calling Renfro's number more and more often as he has gained confidence. And one of the things that would scare me about this Dallas offense is their depth at the wide receiving positions. After Tony Hill and Renfro, you go down to Poe and Gonzalez, 2 rookie wide receivers, not well known, not highly drafted. And if you have one of these wide receivers going down, Charlie, Danny White's going to have a hard time picking out those wide targets.
Renfro, 2 receptions for 37 yards. Had 100 yards against the Giants last week. His first 100-yard game receiving. Here is James Jones going out of bounds, stopping the clock. Could pick up the first down inside the 22-yard line. 14 seconds left to go in the half.
The Steelers trying to mix those defenses. Rushing 3, dropping 8. Rushing 4 and 5, trying to mix them up to get Danny White confused. White got them confused on that play. James Jones slipped out of the backfield from that wing position, quickly got outside and picked up that first down before Brian Hinkle could get out there and run him out of bounds.
First down at the 21-yard line.
They've got the rookie Poe in there, Charlie, number 81.
White going to the end zone to Renfro. He overthrows it. They're well within Septien's range now with 9 seconds. They can run that same kind of a play one more time if they want to. They're not going to take the chance. I'm surprised. I thought he'd try one more.
Well, they're coming now. They don't want to take any chances. They're well within Septien's range. They don't want to hurry him. And we mentioned earlier that Septien had injured his shoulder in practice the other day, and it bothered him, I think, on his first kick, which was rather a long one. He missed it. Let's see what he does here.
An attempt from 38 yards away. Septien missing from 47 earlier in the ball game. He's got it. And the Cowboys stretch the lead 10-3.
One of the most important parts of a good field goal is the hold. Gary Hogeboom, watch him take that football, spin the laces, and so important on a long kick that those laces be straight toward the goalpost. Hogeboom gets it into the perfect position, clears his hand just in time. Beautiful timing and a beautifully executed field goal.
You always hear the kickers talk about the other two men involved, the center and the holder, and they're right. And I'm not sure that the center and the holder always get their due.
They certainly don't, Charlie. And you saw there how hard that job can be if the ball is not snapped properly. Certainly important to get that thing back to them. Tom Rafferty does the snapping on those kicks for the Dallas Cowboys.
5 seconds left to go in the second quarter. So on that drive leading to the field goal, the Cowboys used a minute 46 of a minute 51 that they had. And Septien will be kicking off, and the deep back on the return is Rich Ehrenberg. And this is just a break of any kind of a rhythm that they might have on the return. Here's Sam Washington, and he will be dropped. Stopped at the 30 and then pushed back as time runs out. Steve Diassi of the special teams was the man downfield for the Dallas Cowboys. So we come to the end of the first half with Dallas out in front of Pittsburgh by a score of 10-3. Now the Steelers have won the last 5 meetings between these two teams, including a pair of Super Bowls that spreads over 12 years.
Well, this game, Charlie, in Dallas's favor certainly right now, but a good hard-hitting game, tremendous defensive game, and I think the whole difference in the game, the Pittsburgh Steelers able to control Dorsett on the ground, but Dallas went over the top. Let's go back and look at that touchdown play. They controlled Tony Dorsett as a running back, but here they're able to isolate him one-on-one on Little, number 50, and Dorsett's speed just too much. He said the fastest he's ever run is a 4.3, but he said, hey, I can run as fast as I can, as fast as I have to get away from those defenders.
And NFL 85 halftime activities will continue in a moment. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Tuesday on the A-Team. I'm the clean racing car. The track is hot. The girls are wild. The bad guys are mean, but the A-Team has high hopes. Then on Riptide, a mysterious death. You can't blame yourself. A desperate woman could be next. We'll help you. Can the guys stop a killer before he kills again? Tuesday.
Like me, everybody has two sides to them, a sporty side and a sophisticated side. So Oldsmobile has a Cutlass model to satisfy both. The Cutlass Supreme for the sophisticated in me, and the Cutlass Sierra for my sportier side. You know, I just can't decide. But right now, my old friends of northeastern Pennsylvania are making it easier for me with special prices on the Supreme and the Sierra. You know what? I'll buy this one.
This is a beer that's everything a fine imported beer ought to be. It's brewed with all natural ingredients, the way fine imported beers are brewed. Bottled in tall green glass, the way fine imported beers are bottled. This is Rolling Rock Premium Beer, brewed by the Latrobe Brewing Company and imported in bottles and cans. from Latrobe, PA.
28 Eyewitness News, working harder for you.
Welcome those of you who have been watching Dallas, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland and Houston, and we're going to get you caught up on scores from around the league in this Week 6. First of all, down in Dallas at Texas Stadium, the Cowboys lead the Steelers by a score of 10-3. Great first half for Danny White, 10 for 10 at 1 point in the half. Tony Dorsett came in needing just 31 yards to become the 6th player in NFL history to get 10,000, but his main contribution has come as a receiver. Watch this. Dorsett splits the seam, beats the linebacker. This is the only touchdown so far. 10-3 Dallas after Rafael Septien's field goal just before the half. Denver and Indianapolis, the Broncos lead it by a score of 6-3. Couple of 3-2 clubs. The Broncos one of 4 3-2 teams in the AFC West. There's Dan Reeves. He's watched his offense turn into the AFC's most potent. Here's how the touchdown was scored, the sequence anyway. Vance Johnson will return the ball 38 yards, a nice run up the sideline. He gets good blocking, goes behind the wall. He goes to the 46-yard line. Then John Elway takes over. 45 yards to Clint Sampson on the right side there. That set up a 2-yard touchdown run by Sammy Winder. 6-3 Denver after Raul Alegre's 28-yard field goal. The Giants in Cincinnati, this is a bit of a surprise. The Bengals lead it 21-3. It figured to be a big day for Phil Simms against the Bengals secondary, ranked last against the pass, but the Bengals have controlled this ball game. The Rams and Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers lead this by a score of 17-14. James Wilder has scored on a 1-yard touchdown run. Eric Dickerson scored on a 6-yard touchdown run for the Rams. Cleveland and Houston, the game that some of you have been watching, the Oilers lead this 6-0. A couple of Tony Zendejas field goals. It may have been costly for the Browns. However, they lost Eddie Johnson, their leading tackler. Bernie Kosar started today, but he was intercepted. Admittedly, this wasn't his fault. The pass deflected. It is intercepted, and the Oilers lead the ball game 6-0. Buffalo and New England. The Bills 3-0 over the Patriots. Tony Eason is out with an injury. Steve Grogan replaced him and fumbled on the first snap. Interceptions have been the story, although Joe Cribb's coming back. He wasn't in uniform, though. He worked out with the team before the game. Derek Burrows, in his first pro start, will intercept Tony Eason to stop a drive in the end zone. And then Charles Romes comes back and intercepts another Eason pass. Eason has had interception problems all year, as has Vince Ferragamo. It is 3-0 Buffalo. Washington and Detroit. The Lions haven't won in Washington since 1937. A couple of touchdowns in the first half from John Riggins. He now has 100 in his career, second to Jim Brown. 17-3 the score in Washington. At County Stadium in Milwaukee, Green Bay and Minnesota all tied up at 7. Lynn Dickey has done a 5-yard touchdown pass to Jesse Clark. Tommy Kramer responded with a 14-yard touchdown pass to Mike Jones. Philadelphia and St. Louis, this is another surprise. The Eagles lead the game 13-0. A couple of Paul McFadden field goals started the scoring. Neil O'Donohue missed a couple of field goals for the Cardinals. And now Ahmad Rashad. And I've got to ask you this. Tony Dorsett has only, I think, 5 yards on 8 carries for the Cowboys in the first half. The Steelers' priority was to stop him.
That's right, Billy. I talked to Tony Dungy last week, and he said going into this game, the thing that you can't do is you can't concentrate on Dallas's pass. You got to stop Tony Dorsett, because as soon as the linebackers start to drop off, Tony Dorsett just picks you apart. They have stopped Tony Dorsett on the ground, but they forgot he's one of the best all-around ball carriers in the league, and he's catching balls, I think he's over 80 yards in receptions.
Playing pretty conservatively. Does that surprise you?
For the Cowboys?
Yeah.
Not too much. I think they're the type of team, they win however they can.
Yeah, okay. By the way, earlier on our pregame show, Larry King said that the Players Association will sign an agreement for drug testing in Major League Baseball. Donald Fair, the director of the Players Association, the executive director, denied the story a few moments ago, but he did confirm that there has been a proposal from the 26 clubs concerning drug testing, but that no plan is imminent. And we will return with more halftime activities after these words from our local stations.
I'm Bryant Gumbel. Next week on Today, the woman who signs your money, U.S. Treasurer Catherine Ortega.
I'm Jane Pauley. We'll have a special series on college life in '85, from cost to the big business of sports to the political climate as seen by some 60s activists.
On Thursday, Jen will be at Brown University. I'll be at the University of Michigan for a special edition of Today, College '85, next week.
The Atlantic difference.
Investing in Atlantic makes a difference. With 80% broker discounts, new tax shelters, and free stock tips. The new Atlantic Advantage card makes a difference. With higher CD rates, lower credit costs, and no fee services. Making money and keeping it makes a difference. Atlantic Financial. We can make a difference. Here's another way.
We can make a difference.
28, let's all be there.
All right, we're back now at halftime. Like most life forms, even pro football players undergo a form of evolution. Changes are natural and inevitable. Here's Axe.
The changing of the guard, a tradition older than the leather helmet or the prevent defense. Favorites do it. The Royal Legions at Buckingham Palace put on a tourist spectacle, as if they don't know that they never covered a point spread as the British Empire collapsed. Underdogs do it. Lenin was a 30-point dog when he challenged the Tsar. Now his tomb is honored by the jackbooted march of Soviet guards. In football, the changing of the guard can be just as varied. In Philadelphia, they ordered veteran Ron Jaworski to hand over his rifle to young Randall Cunningham. The result? An explosion of disaster. Now Jaws has his sentinel duty back, and the Eagles are competitive again. Cleveland is watching a different scenario. Gary Danielson is banged up, and the shield of Brown's honor has been handed over to rookie Bernie Kosar from Miami. Immodesty requires that I mention that I predicted on a preseason telecast that Bernie would be starting. Voila, he's starting in week 6. Does this certify me as a seer? Of course not. It was blind luck. It was also a dim moment for Danielson, who said realistically, I could be out anywhere from 1 week to 15 years. But speaking of blurred vision, consider the fans who watch the changing casts in the theater of pro football. In their view, the Cunninghams and Kosars can seldom win. As Mark Malone, the guy who replaced Terry Bradshaw with the Steelers, says, it's funny that when people are gone, they're perfect in the fans' eyes. It's funnier, Mark, that when Bradshaw arrived in Pittsburgh, the same fans thought he was too stupid to go through a changing of the guard.
We're not even going to address the issue of the fans who thought similar things about any of the personnel on this show, Bill.
Who did you call to get Lennon plus 30? That's all I want to know. You're friends with Dan Fouts, Ahmad. Dan is hurt. Will we see a changing of the guard in San Diego, you think?
You will, Bill. And you know the thing about it, I talked to Dan last week. He's planning on playing later on this year. He's out. He's going to every single meeting, keeping his head in the game, and he's planning on coming back. But they're playing now with Mark Herman, who's just now getting used to the offense. And he's the type of guy that throws a pass similar to Fran Tarkenton. It's not a blooper, but it's very easy to catch. The big story in San Diego is that Wes Chandler got hurt last week, Thursday in practice. He was just starting to come on. They put in a lot of plays for him in the offense this week. He gets hurt on Thursday. Now, all of a sudden, they've worked all week on his plays. The pressure now is on Tremaine Johnson. He's got to play this week or else they're in some deep trouble.
All right, and you still have a half of football to go. Stay with us as our halftime activities continue.